Okay, so to create this background, what I got here, I've got the 8x10 gel press, and I've just switched my glass media mat around so the white will show the color. And then I've got a little 5x7 one here. It over time has changed colors. I don't know if it's because of what I was cleaning, but it doesn't affect anything that happens. I've got some of the alcohol inks, and we're just going to start. I've got some stencils here, and they're pretty dirty, which I'm okay with that. That's kind of my style. When I get acrylic paint and such on them, I don't rush to clean them off. So, but that's not going to affect anything we do. So I'm just laying down some of these Tim Holtz stencils. What I was looking for is ones that have a nice thinner line, because once we drip some alcohol ink on here, because this is so liquidy, it's going to run alongside and really make these stencils stand out. It's really actually pretty cool how they end up looking. I'm not worrying about if I overlay in some areas. It's just gonna, I don't know, just kind of help the effect. So there we go. We've got some laid down, and then I'm just going to take and just randomly just drip some of the colors I have here. And I know it's going to seem like, because this is an 8x10, that, I'm really wasting a lot of ink, but I'm not. I'm only, squeezing just a little bit out, and a little bit's going to go a long way. So let's see, and now I'm going to use my brayer and just spread this out a little bit. The only thing I have to be careful of is the alcohol ink is getting on the brayer, and if I use the brayer to help just spread this out a little bit, I want to make sure that that I roller it off and then that I clean this. Otherwise, what's going to happen, and you can just do it real quick, it doesn't have to be spotless, but you just want to make sure that the most of it is off. That's plenty. Because what will happen is the alcohol ink that is left on here will react if I use the brayer again. So I'm just going to continue. Let's see what I had just used: flamingo pink and sunshine yellow. I'm kind of staying on the brighter colors here. I don't know, just kind of in the mood. Plus, there's something about the transparent alcohol inks in the bright colors that is just, amazing. So we're getting pretty good coverage here, and as you can see, like I said, it's starting to, let's move some of this around, start to pool up right alongside the stencil, which is what we're looking for. Let's see, let's do, what do we got? Let's go with a little orange, Valencia. Alright. And maybe, what do we got? Let's do a little bit of green, and then I think I'm going to be done. We've got some limeade here. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do one more little brayer, just to make sure that I'm not wasting any of the ink that might be on the stencils. And then we are going to let this dry. Okay, so my ink is dry, so I'm going to lift up the stencils, and I can always take, if you're not comfortable with, having your stencils look like this, just squirt them down with some 91% rubbing alcohol, and they'll come clean real nice. And you can always, if these are still a little, damp underneath the stencil, you can always, brayer them off onto your pickup sheet, and they'll still, and that's permanent, so it's a nice little perk. But look at how pretty that is. Okay. So now, you can use any kind of acrylic paint that you have. Basically what you need is you need to get a nice thin layer on there, and it needs to be fast. So you need your thin, and you're going to want to work fast because it's going to dry quickly. So I've got some Distress Mixed Media paper here ready on the hand, and because I know, I'm going to be making a card, and it's the background for a card, but I really like this golden iridescent pearl. It just adds this nice little soft shimmer, and it looks real nice on the manila color. So I'm just going to add a couple drops. I don't want to go overboard with this. And then I also am going to use my golden titanium white, which is opaque. But you can use anything that you have. If you have, some Primo, or you have the low-grade Students, Master's Choice, or whatever you have on hand. And we just want to get enough down here. So, and remember, my brayer is clean, so it's not reacting again with the alcohol ink that is dry on here. But we want a real nice thin layer. We still want to be able to see the alcohol ink through, because if we have too much paint on there, then what's going to happen is this back layer is just going to lift up, and then we'll have, we can get a couple prints, what they call ghost prints, but I really prefer, I'm just cleaning off some of the excess paint here. I just really want to do the one pull. I don't want numerous prints of this. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just working this, making sure it's kind of staying wet, but getting comfortable with the layer that's on there. So you can see how it's still kind of peeking through. Here it isn't, so I know it's a little thick. See how that just lifted up a little bit? Yeah, see, it's still a little too wet. Which, when you play more around with this, you'll get a feel for it. Alright, now I'm pretty happy with that. If it doesn't come up in every area, that's okay with me. That's definitely, a cool look and a unique background. So now we just take and place your sheet of paper on here, and then what I'm doing now is applying a good amount of pressure. What I want to do is rub so all that wet acrylic paint is now making contact with the paper. I'm just making sure that, it's reacting, because now the acrylic paint is also kind of like, in a way, re-wetting those acrylic, or the alcohol inks. So now when we do this pull, they should all come up. So let's see. And look at that. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. There we go. Look at how gorgeous that is. Ooh, is that going to make a stunning background? Look at that. So see, what happened is the alcohol ink started to, just kind of lay. So not only do you have the negative part of, in some areas you've got the negative part of the stencil happening, but you've also got the positive. So to me, this is just, it's the perfect, it's perfection. It's you've got both worlds, the negative look and the positive look of a stencil. And as far as, there's a little discoloration here, but a little bit of, baby oil or rubbing alcohol is going to clean that right up. But there you go. So I'm going to clean up all of this, and we're going to get going on the next step of making this into a card. Okay, so that didn't clean up, but you know what? I'm okay with it. So just know that yours may, you know, react on there too, but it's not going to change any of your future prints. Although I have done alcohol inks on there before, so I don't know what it was that reacted this time. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is you know, with this piece here, I want something to be a little bit more solid when I make the card. So I'm going to now just play around with some stamps on here. You need to be a little bit quick because, you know, your alcohol inks are going to dry so quick, but you'll see. What do I got here? I've got the reflection stamp, which works great on here, and then the crazed planks. I don't know if I'll use one or both, or we'll see, but I liked the plum in there and then the Valencia. So I'm just going to work on probably about maybe half of this, and there's something about, I'm just going to start putting some drops down. There's something about the gel plate and in contact with the stamps that just really just, the detail is just amazing. You'll see. So yeah, I'm just adding a few drops, and then I'm just, ooh, there's a hair on there. Let's get that off there. I'm just gonna, real quick, and now remember too, wherever this brayer goes is reacting with the alcohol ink. So you don't want to over brayer. And then, like I said, kind of working quickly, I'm just going to press this in. And if you want, you can, you know, put it on your drop or your cleanup sheet. Is wherever I do this is also reacting again. So there's some of the letters. And then I really like this crackle, which I actually haven't used yet. So we'll just do a little bit more of this. And now it's starting to dry, so not that much is lifting up, but it's still going to do something. It's pretty cool. We can always take and see, I worked pretty quick, but if you can, I don't know, can you? No, you really can't see. So again, this is pretty much dry already. So I've got some more mixed media, and that's going to be pretty solid for me. So I think I am ready and good with this lift. So this time I'm just going to use straight, I've got heavy body here, which I'm going to go here on my, because I can control how much paint's going to end up going on there. And then my brayer, which is right here, which I don't have to worry the alcohol ink's dry on here. I'm just going to brayer up, get the paint on my brayer, and then get my thin line on here. Or not thin line, excuse me, my thin layer. Now that plum is a pretty strong color. You can see it kind of bleeding through there, but I think this is going to be another gorgeous pull. So as you can see, and you get an idea, I can still see stuff popping through. So that's a good layer for me to get just, you know, the one pull. Again, just rubbing this back to get, you know, have contact happen with the paper and the acrylic, also to get it to react with that alcohol ink that's dry on there. You know, given a good amount of pressure. I mean, I'm not making, you know, an indent, but I'm not just, you know, touching it like it's a baby's back. I'm, you know, giving some good pressure. So let's see how this goes. And there we go. Look at that. So that's going to look really nice on top of what we got going here. All right, now this time I am cleaning this up, and we'll be right back to continue with the card. Okay, and so like when I have a gel print like this, what I like to do is cut, or I usually have one on hand, but kind of a frame to help me decide where I want to, you know, cut this up at. And so it just helps me visualize and focus and see what area of the gel print I like best. And so I kind of ended up that I liked the horizontalness of these stripes and then the circles and the coloring in this one. So I just cut this out. I've got a 5x7 card, so I just cut you know, roughly the area that I liked, and so I now end up with that. Of course, I'll save all these bits and they'll be used in another project at another time. And again, you know, this is 4x6 because I've got a 5x7, just, you know, random basic card, and this will end up going on here. And I liked, you know, the solid of this, and I wanted to add another circle element, not caring for this little variation in color here. It just wasn't flowing with the rest, so I think I'm going to end up doing like a half circle here. And then I've also got the new craft stock, this metallic paper by Holtz, and the orange in here is just fabulous. Actually, all these colors in this metallic jewels pad is just great. Oh, this black, oh, I'm going to have so much fun with that black. But purple, you know, I want it more of like a, you know, a generic, so this could go to, you know, I'm going to leave it blank on the inside. So I just want it to be more, you know, female or male. Well, I guess this is also kind of pink, so I guess it's kind of more on the girl side. But yeah, so I'm just going to figure out a couple other elements to go on here, and then we're going to be putting this card all together. Okay, so to finish this off, I just ended up kind of just layering a few die cuts. So I've got some of the funky florals and the Thinlit, oh, there's a glare, the Thinlit Follow Your Dreams from this set, and then I used the circle. So yeah, I used the circle Thinlit. I think that's stitched, actually they're called framelits, stitched circles. And instead of just keeping it in its entirety, I just trimmed it and then added the side here, not to have any go to waste, and then I backed it by the orange from the Metallics jewel set. And then here I just, you can see here, these are from the Festive Florals. And then some flowers from there, and just pretty much just, you know, layered it all and stuck in here and there, and used some of the scraps from the gel print. And yeah, there we have it. There's the completed piece. And let me try to zoom in, since the Simon Says Stamp Challenge was about alcohol, drinks or inks, which I obviously used inks, but let me just try to, it is early morning here, so I've got just my studio light, but there we go. Maybe that's a little better. And here's that stamping on that second background gel plate print I did. See how that just really comes, it really adds a lot of detail.